Welcome everyone to episode 54 of This Week in Geek. Originally, we were going to discuss how I am on The Witcher, but I couldn't find any good screenshots. So we're going to discuss the Battle of the Summer movie blockbusters. Thank you so much for finding us, however you're finding us. My name is Ren, and I am joined today by co-host Patrick Burrow. How are you doing today, Patrick? I was going to do it again.
I'm fucking chipper, mate. I got me Monster Energy drink. I just got home from work, mate. I'm gonna go get myself a bit of a Barbie afterwards. I've got a good steak. I'm gonna go down to the server, get more fucking energy drinks, and I'm gonna be up all night editing. So it's about to get worse.
It's gonna be a fun night then. Now, full disclosure, Zach was supposed to be here, not necessarily instead of Patrick, but Zach was supposed to be here like for a normal show. That was something that happened that Zach couldn't make it today. I'm not going to be the one to share it with you guys. But guess what? For the third consecutive week, next week, we can have a show as well. And so hopefully Zach will be good to be on next week's show. If he chooses to share with you guys what happened, awesome. If not, just Zach is not here today. He'll be back next week, hopefully.
Yep.
And all our best to co-host Zach Pope. With that out of the way, in case you are new to the show, in case you're watching us live on YouTube, in case you're watching the replay, in case you're listening to us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts, thank you so much for listening to us. Remember to rate the episodes because it makes the show better. It lets everyone else know the show is out there. And in case you're finding the show for the first time, we have 3 sections in the show. The first is when me, and in this case today, Patrick will go through over our weekly rankings. That's when we look back on everything that we watched this past week and rank it from worst to best. The second section is perhaps the main section. That's our main topic. That's what you see on the thumbnail. That's what you see on the title. We're going to discuss Barbie versus Oppenheimer, and I may or may not already have a ticket confirmed for a screening of one of those films. And the last section, my friends, is the best section. It's my favorite part. It's your favorite part where we answer your questions. There are 3 ways of leaving questions. You can go to the community tab on my channel right now. There's a post there with a thumbnail for this video and leave your questions there, which we'll do our best to get to them before the show is over. But if you want to guarantee your question is answered and answered as fast as possible with your name popping up on screen, you can actively support us as you ask great questions through the SuperChat or tip link in the description. All that out of the way, let's get going with our weekly rankings. And I have been binge watching an upcoming series that I cannot talk about yet. I wouldn't be able to rank it because I've only been given 8 of 10 episodes for the upcoming series, unfortunately. But I am really loving what I'm watching right now. I just finished the 8th episode, and now I have to wait over a month for the series to start. Not even to get to that episode out in public, for the series to start.
Is it the one I'm maybe thinking of?
I'm not going to give any clues. Just throw it in the private chat if you have guesses.
Okay.
So I'm not going to rank that. But outside of that, yesterday I watched this little indie movie at Sundance Film Festival London called Scrapper. Stars no one you know except for Harry Dickinson as this father who comes back into his young daughter's life after her mom passes away. And it's very basic. It's very by the numbers, but you can also say it's effective enough. It's a very familiar story. It feels very much like what you would go for with one of these low budget first feature indies. I thought the film was all right, but I much more so admire the filmmaking and what was accomplished with the filmmaking behind the film rather than the film itself. And over that, by a long margin, at number 1, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I already have my tickets for Wednesday. This film is spectacular. I had smaller gripes here and there with it, but even those gripes are not feeling as strong. They're there. I mean, I didn't too much like that part, but they don't bother me as much when I think back on the film. I remember the excellent parts. And this film I think it has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. Obviously, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't give scores, but I think it's a 98% perfect movie. I think that's just around where it should be. That's my 2 cents. Go watch this film. The sound is incredible. This is the best sound I have heard all year in movies. Kind of reminds me of the
99.
last Tom Cruise movie. Is it 99? I would even agree that it deserves 99. So as much as Top Gun Maverick, I said it for Top Gun Maverick last year, this right now should win the Oscar for best sound. Right now. We're still halfway through the year. All right, Patrick, what do you got? And no, it's not that. It's not that.
Oh, damn.
No.
I was really hoping it would be that. I was really hoping.
Actually, I think that is going to be 8 episodes total.
I thought it was 10.
They're usually 8. Like Mandalorian is 8. Boba Fett was 7. I think Andor was 8 as well. So I'm counting on that. Well, we can talk about what your guess was. No, I'm not watching Ahsoka. That's what Patrick's guess was.
Is it the other show that's premiering like the same day or weekend as that?
No, because that's... I don't want to say too much. I know that's late in August. I know of...
Right, okay.
Like, not to say this thing I am watching is premiering around the same time. I have no clue that anything else is happening around Ahsoka. Andor was 12, turns out, so who knows?
Was Andor 12? I thought it was only 10.
Yeah.
I really liked Andor.
Andor was awesome.
Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about. Hang on. Is it connected to a particular foreign media? Hang on.
No. But I can't say that I'm watching it. So no. I'm not interested in that.
Oh, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for that one. I was thinking it was One Piece. So I'll get into my ranking at number 5 because I only watched 5 things this week. Technically 6, but the number 5 is like 2 episodes 1 and 2 of the MTV Scream TV series. I've started a reaction series on my channel. Look, I'll say this. It's not the worst thing. It's definitely not as bad as I expected it to be. It's definitely got that vibe of Scream. It's got a lot of problems, though. One, the writing, the characters, and the way the story progresses is all over the fucking place. It also takes way too long to get going. The opening scene of episode 1, Bella Thorne gets killed. And then after that, it's literally nothing happens for 40 minutes. And then episode 2 happens, and nothing happens for most of that episode, aside from like one character death. And like, you do care about certain characters, and there is one bond between Audrey and Rachel, the lesbian couple that get outed via a social media video at the beginning of the first episode. Their bond, their relationship is really sweet. I really love them two together, and I feel for them, especially because no one should be outed in such a way. And it's a good commentary on how social media controls us and how it can ruin us as well. But at the same time, one, that Scream mask because of the, apparently, according to the comment section of my first video, is because of rights issues. It looks like dog shit. It's a really bad mask designed for Ghostface in this.
It looks like Dr. Doom from Fantastic.
It kind of does, yeah. And the whole backstory with like, oh, this guy that did these murders like 20, 30 years ago, he had a face like the Elephant Man. I'm like, I'm here watching Scream. I'm here for Ghostface. I don't give a flying fuck about this. The characters, they're really annoying. They're awful fucking people as well. Like, they are some of the worst characters I've ever seen. But it's perfectly watchable. The gore's good. It just sort of exists. I'm waiting for it to get better, but I'm not really hopeful. Yeah, which is causing a lot of, heat in the comment section because apparently people love this show. I don't know. And number 4, Insidious The Red Door. Now, I really enjoyed Insidious The Red Door. I went in very skeptical, though, because one, I forgot this movie was coming out until our live show last week. Like, I only just remembered it was coming out. The marketing didn't impress me. There were, like, no press screenings whatsoever. Nada. And there was no embargo. There was no early reviews out via any official articles or websites or, reviews, you name it. Like, I got my review up super early because of that. And It's got its issues, but my biggest positive behind it is that Patrick Wilson definitely went back to what James Wan did so well in the original, and he literally builds suspense around the characters, the location, utilizing cinematography, lighting, and sound design to his advantage. And I really like that as a massive horror fan. So therefore, when the jump scares happen, it is something you're meant to be scared of, and it does ramp up. It does have that intensity and that atmosphere building around those jump scares, so it's genuine. And the story that is surrounding it in regards to like fallen father and son bonds happens on two fronts in a way I'm not going to spoil, obviously, but it is a story I think a lot of people will relate to quite heavily, especially if you have a distant or very disconnected relationship with parents. It's one that a lot of people I think will resonate with quite a bit. It's not great, mind you. Getting rid of the orchestral string score of the previous films was a massive disservice, I feel, because it doesn't have that very uncomfortable acoustic score to it anymore. And it just doesn't have the same effect. There's also far too many moments of scares. Like, granted, you don't want a horror movie to be boring with nothing happening, of course. But towards the second half of the movie, it's like every 5 fucking minutes, a suspense builds up, people creeping around, they're going into the further, and then jump scare. And I'm like, that's fine. And each one on their own, if you watch them separately as like YouTube clips, are effective. 2 scenes in particular involving what you see in the trailer with him flipping the photographs on the window and an MRI. There's a scene where Patrick Wilson gets an MRI. That scene gave me chills. Unfortunately, they happen in such quick succession that a lot of the scares lose their effect. And, you know, the writing isn't always the best. I think the ending feels very abrupt and it doesn't feel as conclusive as they wanted it to be, but I'm happy with it. It's not the best. It's definitely nowhere near the worst of the franchise. It's just okay. And I had a good time watching it, but I definitely choose to watch Insidious 1 and 3 over it. Coming in number 3, I finally saw it. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I really like this movie. I don't like what they did in the third act involving. Can I say spoilers? It's been out long enough.
But nobody's gonna see it, and I want people to go see it.
Okay. There's a thing they do, and while Indiana Jones has always pushed the boundary of reality due to the grounded characters, the grounded nature, and the fact that this thing is never mentioned of throughout each of the previous films, being Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and The Last Crusade. Those items being like the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant and those stones from Temple of Doom more act like MacGuffins. They act as a plot device to get the characters where they need to be on this adventure, but they're not just there. They're not a plot device that they're always grabbing onto and talking about and exploring in the moment. It's more that wonder and that mystery and discovery rather than just, here's a piece of paper and a book in my college. We're going to take that on the adventure too, so we're going to know everything about it anyway. I am totally fine with the story being around Archimedes' dial. That is a very interesting story that I can tell. Unfortunately, what they do with the dial towards the end goes very Crystal Skull route, where it's like, hey, you know this thing that could be used as like a plot device to get them from point A to B on their adventure? Now we're going to bend reality entirely and cross that line where I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of problems here in regards to just the laws of everything regarding Indiana Jones and what made it feel so grounded and real in the first place. And that's my biggest issue. But I feel that this is a much better conclusion than what Crystal Skull gave us, but I don't think it's a better conclusion than Last Crusade. I definitely don't. No. I do appreciate that they do mention Crystal Skull, however, with Mud and Marion and everything. The thing they do with Mud provided such a beautiful arc for Indy, and it really helped it come full circle for his character, not in this movie, but in his franchise as a whole, in my opinion. I think James Mangold beautifully directs this movie. I don't know what people are talking about with the CG and de-aging at the beginning 20 minutes. That's some of the best Indiana Jones I've ever seen. That's probably some of the best 20 minutes of Indy ever. That opening 100%. 20 minutes. It feels so rich, so alive, and so visceral, and feels like classic Indy. Unfortunately, the overuse of CG brings a common issue I had with Crystal Skull. that the lack of practicality loses a lot of the authentic old school nature of the original three. So therefore, it doesn't feel like Indy is on this adventure. It at times really does feel like they're on a green screen. They do feel like it's not really there, but at least it has that grime, that dirtiness, and that, brutality behind it that makes it feel like these people are getting injured. They are rolling around the dirt. They are swimming in this water in the ocean to go get this thing. So I appreciate that. It's not on the top 3 of Indy. That still goes towards, the original trilogy, in my opinion, but it is leaps and bounds better than Crystal Skull. And I really enjoyed Dial of Destiny. I've seen it twice now. I literally...
nice. Seen it more than me.
I went and saw it again, right after work one night, because I got off work early, and I'm like,
nice.
I'm going to go see it again. Like, it's the last showing of the day. I'm going to fucking go. And I actually took a few work colleagues, which was nice.
Nice.
And we all bought our collector tin bucket combo and everything with the Indiana Jones cup and popcorn bucket and everything. So that was cool. Coming in at number 2, the 1986 movie Critters. I have never seen Critters until recently, but I knew that Leonardo DiCaprio's acting debut was in Critters 3, and he despises that movie. But I'm like, let's go back to the original classic. A lot of people, I've found out recently, a lot of people actually compare it to Gremlins and like say it's a copy. Critters was actually written 2 years before Gremlins, believe it or not. It just took forever to get made because of producers and rights and budget and all that sort of stuff getting passed hand to hand to hand to hand. I really like this movie. It's very slow paced, but the little furballs are both cute and terrifying at the same time. I think that the practical puppets are insanely good for such a low budget for 1986. I think that the core cast are very realistic. Their performances are amazing. And it's a fun little sci-fi horror movie. It really is. And it's one that I could believe that they eventually go to space, which apparently they do in, number 4, which features Brad Dourif, Chucky. So that's a fun little bit of trivia for you. But, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm excited to watch Critters 2. There's not much I can really say about the movie, but it's an enjoyable time. I've got a reaction coming out soon. Damn. I was pleasantly surprised. And it's not very long either. It's only like 75 minutes. So it's a very quick, very easy, enjoyable watch. Especially if you like
old school Disney
movie. It's an old school Disney movie. Yeah, exactly right. And coming in at number 1, Saw. I rewatched Saw this week. And,
nice.
That's always going to be my number 1 whenever I've got it on there. Unless it's Halloween 1978 or Shawshank Redemption. That favorite horror movie, favorite movie of all time. Saw is just such a special movie to me. It made me fall in love with movies. It made me fall in love with horror. I watched it for the first time when I was 6 years old, which feels way too young when you watch the Saw movies. Way too fucking young. But the new Saw movie comes out soon. The trailer drops this month on July 29th. I'm going to get prepared.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was this month. I didn't know we had like a
Midsummer
Fest
day. Midsummer Fest on the 29th of July is the official Lionsgate Saw 10 panel. And I only found out because of the tweeting back and forth between the official Twitter account for the Midsummer Fest and the Saw account. And they, basically confirmed it's July 29th. I'm excited to see what the trailer provides, considering it's meant to be a interquel taking place between 2 and 3, where Tobin Bell is back as Jigsaw in full frontal. Story leaks have confirmed that he is the main character of the movie for the first time ever in this franchise. It is Jigsaw Central, which I'm okay with that, considering I am getting a bit bored of just focusing on a trap plot. Which is why I liked Spiral so much, because it wasn't just focused on the trap plot. But Saw 1, look, that ending still shocks me to this day. I wish I could revisit that. Yeah, it's got bad acting. Yeah, it hasn't got the best writing. But what James Wan and Lee Winnell and the rest of the cast and crew were able to pull off in 11 days for such a low budget. It was only $1.5 million they were handed by Lionsgate. And they made it in 11 days. They shot this movie. They got away with a lot. And, the fact that they got Danny Glover in there, they got, what's her name? The one who plays Detective Carey, who was also in Starship Troopers.
I know exactly who you mean, but I'm blanking. Shit. Keep
But
going,
like
keep going while I search for her.
you got Carrie Elways. Like the fact that they got these actors and were able to get away with so much. And
Tina
were able-
Meyer.
Thank you. She's phenomenal in it for the small role she has. But this movie, in my opinion, is proof of less is more. Because this is when the franchise was its least gory. This is when it was its least torture porny. This is when it was a psychological crime thriller. And that's when Saw works at its best. Even Saw 2 was very much so like this, with a lot more violence and gore behind it, of course. But it was very much so a police investigation movie rather than a straight out torture porn horror film. And that's why Saw 1 and 2 work so well, in my opinion. And again, less is more. They had such a low budget, they were able to be inventive and they were able to be imaginative with how they got certain things done. Like, if you've ever watched the behind the scenes of Saw, it's insane what they actually did to get certain things right. Like, that, I know it looks a little janky nowadays, 20 years later, but that scene of them driving, that was when they ran out of budget at the end of the movie with that chase between Tap and Zev, and that was just them on a soundstage with black curtains, and then they couldn't get the actor playing Detective Singh in, so you can actually see it on the Blu-ray. But Lee Winnell actually did a stand-in when they're entering the warehouse when he's holding the shotgun. That was never meant to be shown, but you can actually see the lower half of Lee Winnell's head because he had to be a stand-in for that day of shooting. And I just think those little things make Saw very special.
It's true. It's true. All right, everyone. With that, let's get into your weekly rankings. We start with good friend of the show, Eric Thorpe. And let me do a zoom in. Eric Thorpe, number 1, Love and Death. Number 3, number 2, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Number 3, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Number
5.
5, Mission Impossible 3, Secret Invasion Episode 3, and lastly, The Witcher Season 3 Episode 1, which I am in one of the last scenes. When you have an overhead shot that then goes up to the balcony of Ciri's dad's castle, he has 2 guards behind him. I'm the guy behind his right shoulder. So on your left, on the left side of the screen, there I am.
On your left.
And then I'm in Episode 3 as well.
I'm going on the Netflix now to see if I can find this screenshot.
It's like very, very, very nearly the end of the episode.
Okay. Balcony, you said?
Balcony. Like, there's an overhead shot that then transitions to like pointing forward and zooms in on the guy when he's standing in his balcony. With 2 guards, like one on like each side of him. Excuse me. SPC Unleashed. Number 1, The Flash Season 8. Number 2, Titanic Behind the Flash. Wow. All right. Titanic 25 years later. I also watched the 25th anniversary re-release of Titanic, and it's fucking awesome. It's one of the best films of the year.
Found it.
There I am.
There you are. I don't know if you can see him. He's right there.
Yeah.
He's right there.
I am. Yeah, that's me. That's me. That was going to be on the thumbnail, but couldn't get a high quality.
That's me.
That's me. And then I'm also in Episode 3 in a tavern scene. That was the one thing I shot, by the way, not to get off topic, where I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be seen on this one. And yet you can totally see me for some brief moments. And then there's another scene. I think it's also in Episode 3, but it could be in Episode 4, where Ciri's father is meeting with a character named Robbie Amell. And that was a scene where I'm like, oh, I'm totally going to be seen on this one. Every time you have a shot of Robbie Amell, there's a guard right behind him, completely out of focus. But I promise you it's me. Because then when their meeting is over, he walks out, and I walked out with him, but they never show that shot. They keep the camera on the other guy that stays in the room with Ciri's father. Again, that was the one I'm sure, oh, I'm totally going to be seen on this one. And technically, you can see me, but there's no way you can tell it's me. But I promise you.
There you are. There you are, chucking your hand over the bloke's shoulder in the tavern.
Yeah. There I am. That was a really fun scene to shoot. Nathan Madigan, number 5, thank you for your service. Number 4, Mission Impossible, the original. Number 3, Ford v Ferrari. Such a great movie. If you guys have not seen Ford v Ferrari, it's spectacular. It's James Mangold, man. James Mangold.
Best sound design I've heard in an IMAX theater, by the way. The sound design of that movie, of the revving of the engines during that fucking...
so good. So good. Number 2, Watership Down, which I've never seen, and number 1,
No.
Bringing Up Baby, which I don't recognize the title even. I don't think I even heard of this one.
Oh, I think I have.
GKOP weekly ranking number 3, Dial of Destiny, number 2, Secret Invasion episode 3, and number 1, Mission Impossible, the original, I'm assuming. I would definitely swap Dial of Destiny and episode 3 of Secret Invasion. I wasn't the biggest fan of this week's episode.
I'm also not a big fan of the original Mission Impossible.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's good. I just don't think it's better than any other entry aside from Mission Impossible 2, which sucks.
I think it's better than Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
I really
I like
like
Mission Impossible. I like all of them, honestly. I don't dislike 2 even. John Woo and the doves and the slow motion.
Fucking John Woo and
awesome in
the...
its
Yeah,
own
we
way.
had this last week.
Yeah. Where are we? Okay, we didn't miss anything. Tony Movie Chappie, weekly ranking number 3, Mission Impossible 1. Number 2, Electra, director's cut. And number 1, Chappie, which I really like as well. I still remember the first time I watched that movie was the day of my birthday.
I actually like
the day of my
Electra.
birth. Ooh.
Not even just the director's cut. I like Electra. I like that movie even on its own.
I've never seen it in full.
Really? Maybe it's just what's her name? Who plays Electra? Maybe it's just her.
No, if it was her, I would have totally seen it multiple times now. I love Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner. That's it. Apparently, she's meant to be in Deadpool 3.
It's true. It's true.
I'm so excited. Give her the same outfit as last time.
I said this in a chat yesterday. Now I will finally watch Electra for the first time ever. But before we get to Electra and before I say anything I'm not allowed to about Deadpool 3 that I know about who's going to be in it, let's get into our main topic, ladies and gentlemen. Barbie versus Oppenheimer. It is upon us. The battle of summer movies 2023. And this is great. Barbieheimer. And this is great for many reasons, because it has genuinely become this very funny, like, meme battle on the internet, on Twitter, but because people are genuinely excited for both movies. People are genuinely excited to see both these movies succeed. Both movies have been crushing their marketing. They're appealing to a wide range of audience, which you never think Barbie would do it for a certain type of audience. You never thought Oppenheimer would do it for a certain type of audience. It's also great because, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of good movies that should be massive hits come out and genuinely not do all that well. As of right now, the movie that's done the best in the summer so far, it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
And right after that, it's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Great movies. I'm glad those are doing well. But everything else has been undermining or just being, okay. Or even being disasters, talking about The Flash in that sense. But now it's July. Now it's getting hot. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, also a spectacular film, is tracking really, really well. And I am very excited for this battle. I am very excited for this battle because I love that you can go out to the theater in the same week and you have an Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. You have a Mission Impossible. You have an Elemental. You have a Christopher Nolan movie. You have a Barbie movie that's this existential crisis filled with layers and just a pure vibe. That movie is a vibe. Yeah.
And even like the variety of genres, like only the week after Barbenheimer, you've got Talk to Me. Then a week after that, in August, you've got The Meg 2. Like, the thing is that's so great about this summer season is, unlike a lot of other summer seasons, in my opinion, we have such a wide variety of not just blockbuster movies, but also wide variety of genres. There's even a bunch of, like, hell, if you're an anime fan, you've got the new, Psycho Pass movie coming out this week.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm a massive Psycho Pass fan. I can't wait to go see that. But like the thing is it's very rare in past summer years. Like we've gotten blockbusters and comic book movies, but it's rare that we've ever had such variety because movies like Talk to Me or The Meg would usually be left for a September, October season, like say Five Nights at Freddy's, Saw, and The Nun 2,
The
and
first Meg.
the first Meg and everything. Like, what is it? What is it? The Exorcist, the beginning. They're all being saved for the September, October period this year. But then you've got movies like Talk to Me and The Meg 2, The Trench, which are also in the summer period, only weeks out from Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Flash. You've got in what is it, Mission Impossible, Barbenheimer. I'm just gonna say Barbenheimer, and then Mission Impossible and everything. Like that's something I love about this summer season, and it will provide not just a little competition, but a lot of time and opportunities for everyone to go to the movies and see what they want to see, whether it's being memed the fuck out of like Barbenheimer, or it's out of genuine love for the industry or wanting to see a movie with your friends, family, or by yourself.
Yeah. And it's also interesting because, like you talked about, it's not just blockbuster, but even if you go into the blockbusters, Oppenheimer is a blockbuster, but it's a Christopher Nolan blockbuster. Barbie looks like a blockbuster, but it's such a massively like It is a blockbuster, but at the same time, it's not at all what you think about when you think blockbuster. Like we've been talking about, like the big studio comedies, the mid-budget movies being gone. Obviously, Barbie was given a bigger budget than usually, but in essence, in its purity, it is very much a big studio comedy, and it was given a blockbuster
budget
type of budget for an auteur filmmaker. That is Greta Gerwig, written by two auteurs in Greta Gerwig and her husband Noah Baumbach. And that's just fascinating. That
Noah
we get
Baumbach
this kind
wrote
of
it?
variety. Yeah, co-wrote it with Greta.
Really?
Yeah.
He who did Marriage Story and everything.
He did Marriage Story.
I didn't know he was. I thought it was just Greta Gerwig that wrote it. I had no idea that Noah Baumbach did it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even more excited now, are you?
Because I love Noah Baumbach. I adore him as a writer and a filmmaker in general.
Same. I wasn't a big fan of White Noise last year, but
no,
in general.
But I appreciate his ingenuity with that film.
Oh,
his ingenuity with that movie is so admirable.
He also co-wrote Madagascar 3, the best Madagascar
I knew that
movie.
I knew that one, and that's probably why it was the best and only good Madagascar movie, in my opinion.
That's a hot take. I don't think none of them, like 1 and 2, are great, but 3 is definitely the best one by far.
Yeah. Through the hoop, more olive oil.
So this is exciting for a lot of reasons, but ultimately, one of them is going to have to budge. So 2 questions right now, and do answer one at a time. Which one will win the opening weekend? Which one has the better legs?
Barbie will win the weekend.
And?
Oppenheimer will fall short. Barbie will still have the legs.
I agree with you. Barbie will win the weekend. I think they're both going to do well. I think Barbie is going to have better legs. I think they're both going to do very, very well. Because Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer is going to grab on to that IMAX screening. And every time a Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet is the exception, but those were the times. It wasn't necessarily the movie itself. Every Christopher Nolan movie is an event. You need to see it in the cinema. And he's become a guy. He's not quite there with Spielberg and Scorsese and all that.
He's almost.
But he is on the ladder already.
He's
and
almost
everyone
there.
knows, Christopher Nolan. I'm going to go see that. But while Barbie, you're going to go watch that. Then you're going to go to watch that with friends. Then you're going to go watch that with this other group of friends. Then you're going to get high and watch with the first group of friends again. Then you're going to get high and watch with the second group of friends again.
That's
then
what my friends and I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're going to grab both groups of friends and you're going to watch together. And then both groups of friends are going to go again together. And this time you're going to do it high. And it's going to be a blast. I think we're looking not just in July, not just that weekend, throughout July, because it's coming nearly the end of the month, into August, I think we're going to see movies do very, very well. And I think it's going to ignite a little bit of the box office going into this latter half of the year. Barbie and Oppenheimer, yes, it's a big battle. Yes, we all want to see it. I think they're going to do wonders for the box office in general.
I'm looking
in 2023.
I'm looking at August releases, and we've got The Meg 2, we've got Strays, and Gran Turismo, and Dracula Voyage of the Demeter. And the thing is, what Barbie and Oppenheimer will do, because the reason why I think Barbie will win the weekend and why it will have the legs to come out on top is mainly because of accessibility. Because even though Nolan is such a prolific name and you've got to see his movies on the big screen, one, I think that 3-hour runtime will be daunting for a lot of people. And when it comes to a movie about Julius Robert Oppenheimer, I feel that seeing a movie that is essentially a biopic on Julius Robert Oppenheimer and how he created the first atomic bomb might be something that people are like, oh, sciencey, wishy-washy, even though it's a Nolan movie. I don't see that as a negative per se, and I'm not saying that like, oh, people won't see it because of that. I'm just saying when you look at Barbie, which is a comedy, which is so big and boisterous, colorful and energetic, and is one that families and friends and lovers and everyone can go to see, I feel like overall with the type of movie it is, Barbie is overall more accessible for larger audiences. Whereas if you look at Oppenheimer the way that I'm looking at it, you might see it as like a big hype thing, but people might be like, oh, it's Blade Runner 2049. Nothing really happens, even though that is a part of what made it special. It's the filmmaking that made that movie. Because I remember seeing 2049 with friends of mine, and I was raving about the movie. I fucking adored it. We all went together, and I was the only one out of a group of 12 people that liked that movie walking out after my second viewing and their first viewing. They hated it. And that is because they found it largely boring. One, because of the runtime, and even with the film's like big scope and visual effects and the filmmaking on hand, they didn't appreciate that because not anything largely happened aside from a few scenes.
And
Oppenheimer, yeah. I feel like Oppenheimer compared to Barbie, when you're looking at it and then being released on the same weekend, might have a very similar situation when it comes to friends and families and loved ones going to see it. I'm not saying that as a negative. I am beyond hype for Oppenheimer. I'm just saying when it comes to box office success, that might be where it comes from. Not saying it won't do well, of course. But what these two movies will do is it will give such a flair and such a spark for box office. For the box office, for people to go and see movies like Talk to Me, which is an indie A24 horror movie by two of fucking Australian directors, by the way. That makes me excited because they're the team behind Raka Raka, if you know the YouTube channel. But it'll give that its success. And even though the first Megan movie already did wonders for the box office back in 2018, that movie did so well back in 2018. I feel like it will give a flair for the Meg 2. And I think it will make people want to go see, Dracula Voyage of the Demeter and Gran Turismo, which, from what I'm hearing, not a lot of people are really all that excited for. But I think Barbie and Oppenheimer will do wonders for the box office, especially with the sort of slump, I'm going to say, for a lot of recent big blockbusters, because I'd say it like this, a lack of originality and ingenuity. It's not because people aren't excited for an Indiana Jones movie. It's because we've seen this before, but we've never seen a movie like Barbie. We've never seen a movie like Oppenheimer, and it will create that spark for movies coming out through the rest of the summer period.
Yeah, that's true. We got a super chat, by the way, from Sucked, good friend of the show. Don't think MI7 will ruin summer for other movies. I don't think so either. Going back to Patrick's point about variety, we got a globe-trotting summer spy action thriller adventure. We got the dramatic biopic about the guy who invented the atomic bomb. We got, I can't even describe Barbie. We got Elemental. We got a giant shark movie. We got a Dracula movie, the second Dracula movie of the year, by the way. We got an indie horror movie. We got what else coming out that you talked about?
Strays, a comedy about dogs that have very foul mouths.
A raunchy dog comedy. You got Sure, it's
Gran
flopping,
Turismo.
but it's there. So let's talk about it. A racing movie, a pulpy adventure movie in Indiana Jones, an animated superhero movie, a live action super. All of these are
Haunted
different.
Mansion. Haunted
A
Mansion.
comedy horror movie from Disney, a Disney live action movie that is not a live action
Equalizer
remake. We
3,
got
the
all
third
of
entry in our
Equalizer,
action
which
franchise.
actually looks good, and I really didn't
It
like the
looks
second
really
one.
good. Way, oh my god, I'm so excited. I love the first two movies. I love
the
them.
first one. I did not like
I
the
remember,
second one.
I haven't seen the second one in a while, but I remember really loving that movie.
I did not like the second one, sadly.
Really?
But I do really like the first one, and this one looks great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it will ruin. I think it's got its own ground to stand, and I think it's gonna make its money. But because it's so different, and it's not coming out at around on the same day as everyone else, because you do have Barbieheimer, it's coming out on Monday for so many people around the world because they want that time to breathe.
It came out today for us on July 8th. Where we
normally get out on a Saturday.
We normally get Thursday releases with Wednesday night preview showings.
Okay.
We never get movies released on a Saturday unless it's an anime movie. That's the only time we get Saturday releases, or if it's like,
which one was it?
Is it?
Which one was it? The anime movie?
Was
it Lonely Castle in the Mirror?
No, it was last year was Sword Art Online, and then next Saturday we're getting Psycho Pass.
Okay.
But that's the only time we ever get Saturday releases is when it's an anime movie like Demon Slayer, like Jujutsu Kaisen, or like Psycho Pass, like Sword Art Online. One Piece Film Red released on a Saturday for us, which, by the way, if you haven't seen One Piece Film Red, please fucking check it out. So good.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Sucked. It's a good point to bring up, and I definitely agree. I think movies are about to do really. I think we're going to see a turn of the tide. Now imagine all of them continue flopping hard. Hope not. But anyway, we're going to leave this super chat up for a while. But let us know your thoughts. Which movie do you think is going to do better? What do you think is going to be better? Because I think both of them are going to end up in my top 10 of the year. So I'm excited for
Oppenheimer.
Those are great.
Oppenheimer. Look, I'm looking at Barbie this way. I'm not going in expecting a great movie. I know that Greta Gerwig and now Noah Baumbach are writing it, but the way that I look at Barbie, I don't expect a masterpiece of a movie. I expect to just sit there and have a fun time. I don't expect it to be a great movie. I don't even expect it to be a good movie, if I'm being honest. I've seen the published clips, which is my mistake, admittedly, but they're not impressing me. At all. Like, I'm sitting there watching it, I'm like, oh, the comedy is very awkward, like very, very awkward. But at the same time, doesn't deter my excitement. It's actually changed my perspective in a way where I feel like I could enjoy it more than what I was going to if I went in with predetermined expectations of, I'm going to love this. This movie is going to be amazing. I think it actually kind of helped me in that regard.
All right. Let's start with, where is it? Nathan Madigan, are there any movies, present or past, you were excited to see that either took too long to show up at your local movie theater or didn't get a screening at all? This is a great question. I know it has happened. So there's one that this happened with recently, but it doesn't apply to me. This year, Missing. It was going to come out here in February, already a month out from when it came out in the United States. And then on the 1st of February, I had an advanced screening at my local cinema, because if you're like a member, a Cineworld member, you get these advanced screenings that sometimes you know what the movie are, other times they're secret screenings, which is great. I love that experience. And so they had an advanced screening on the 1st of February for Missing, which is going to come out on the 21st of February. So I go see it, and I already see it as it is in this early screening a month after the whole of the United States seen it. And 90% of my audience here is from the United States. So I'm like, I'm not going to do a review anyway, but I'm glad I saw it, quote unquote, early. And then after that screening, but before it comes out on the 20 whatever February, they delay it again here in the UK to the middle of April or late April or whenever it was. And by this, I didn't miss it. So, like I said, It happened just now, but it doesn't apply to me because I was lucky. Another time that happened with, and it does apply to me, was Ant-Man and the Wasp, not Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I remember we got it like a month after everyone else because of the fucking dumbass World Cup. We got Jurassic World Dominion earlier than everyone else, but we got Ant-Man and the Wasp later, and I just wish those had swapped. Number one, because my interest is much more invested.
Do you mean Fallen Kingdom?
Fallen Kingdom, yes. Sorry, I said Dominion. Yeah. I wish those would have swapped because I'm more invested in an MCU movie, but also Fallen Kingdom is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And then that same year, it happened with Blind Spot.
Oh god, yeah, I remember that.
Or Blind
Spotting.
Yeah, Blind Spotting. Where everyone got it in the summer. Portugal got it in the summer. We got it in November. And by the time it was so late. November or December, I think it was one of those. I didn't end up seeing it for a while. I saw it like years later. I think it was either 2020 or 2021. I was like, oh, this is on Netflix. I never ended up seeing it. And I swear if I had seen it at the time, that would have been my top 10 of the year. That movie is fucking awesome. Those are just the examples I remember of this, because this is a great question. And unfortunately, I have a feeling it happens more often than not. Do you have any examples for you, Patrick?
I'm sitting here just going, where do I start? Because Australia is a country that is prolific getting movies so much later than the US. Like, what, Ruby Gillman and the Teenage Kraken came out, last week in the US? We don't get it till fucking September.
Well, it's going to be on VOD in 2 weeks because it's Universal. So.
Well, Renfield had that recently. Hey, look, we're going to get it in the fucking March. No, Australia, you don't get it till the last weekend of fucking May. And in the end, I was like, well, fuck you. I'm just going to watch it on digital and do a reaction when I come back to YouTube. I had watched the movie on digital using a VPN and renting it. And it hadn't even come out in theaters here yet. What is it? Thor Ragnarok. I was still excited, still saw it, but it came out 2 weeks after the US. When it comes to movies like Aquaman, we got that 3 weeks after the fucking US. The US got Ghostbusters Afterlife in the fucking November. We didn't get that till January 1st of the new year.
Holy shit.
This is a common issue in Australia. And for some fucking reason, anything in December, I'm always fucking worried. Because anything coming out in December with that release date, I'm worried about with Aquaman 2 this year. Because that's coming out mid-December this year in the US, right?
Yeah.
We may not be getting that until New Year's Day, like Assassin's Creed, like Ghostbusters Afterlife, like How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, because we don't get shit until the new year if it's coming out in December in the US.
But Hidden World, I remember it was January worldwide.
We admittedly got it early for Hidden World, but what I'm saying is Australia, for some fucking reason, is like, let's just negate the fucking Thursday release for January 1st for some reason. No matter what day January 1st comes out, we're going to have these movies come out, but you get no Thursday release the week beforehand. Nada. So we're going to push these big movies back to January 1st for you guys so you can all enjoy a New Year's Day. I don't give a shit. I'm on Twitter. We're all on social media nowadays. I'm now avoiding spoilers like the fucking plague. Yeah. This happens so frequently, but then all of a sudden, if I get a review up a fucking week early for Godzilla vs. Kong, I'm the worst person in the world, even though I didn't talk spoilers, but because I got to see it, I get the F-bombs in the comment section and everything going, fuck you, you're just doing this for views, you didn't see the movie. What the fuck? You guys are always getting movies like a couple weeks to a couple months before us, but the one time we get it a week early, we get given shit. There are so many movies that I just haven't seen to this day or haven't reviewed because we got them so fucking like months after the US. Like at this point, I'm hearing that Blue Beetle here might be pushed back to fucking September. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Why? Actually, has it? It has. That's September, Blue Beetle, September 14th, but it comes out in fucking August for everyone else. See what I mean? this is why I don't review a lot of movies, even though I have come back to movie reviews, because we're getting them so fucking late that there's just no point. No point.
All
That's why I
right,
didn't
you're going to
review
start with the
Dune.
next. You're going to start with the next one because I need to check something really
No,
quick
you're
off
right.
screen. Gico EP, since people talked about how Eternals would have worked much better as a show, those people are wrong. Don't listen to them. Which Disney Plus MCU shows do you guys feel would have worked better as a movie? I have heard people say that maybe
Ooh.
Secret Invasion would have worked better as a movie. All right, Patrick, take it.
In my opinion, for MCU shows that worked as a movie, I might be the wrong person to ask to a certain degree, because after Loki, I just kind of stopped. I would watch like 1 or 2 episodes of the shows, and then I just forget about it if I didn't enjoy it. I watched Hawkeye, which I really enjoyed, but in reality, out of the MCU shows I have seen that I feel would have worked better as a movie, would have to be The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because one of my biggest issues with Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the fact that the show took way too long to get going and had so much going on, but nothing at the same time. There was so much content, so much crap that could have been cut out, and there was a lot of things that needed to be focused on a lot more. So having that as a show, as a movie instead of a show, I feel like that could have been done a lot better in regards to tighter pacing. And I feel like it would have made them focus on things such as the Flag Smashers. What's it called? Flag Smashers?
Yeah.
The villains of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
You're
I
right.
just feel Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even for 6 episodes, felt way too drawn out and had way too much crap that could have been moved. Like, granted, that cliffhanger at the end of episode 3 or 4 with what is it? American
The Bloody
Agent?
Shield.
The Bloody Shield, yeah. I
So bad.
feel like that wouldn't have worked as well if it was in a movie, but the moment wouldn't have been, diminished at all, in my opinion. The cliffhanger wouldn't have even been a thing. The moment still would have been just as shocking and just as effective. It also would have felt like the arc between Bucky and Sam, thank you. Their relationship and their bond and their arcs as not separate characters, but as a couple, not a couple, as a duo, as partners,
as a team,
would have worked so much better as a team. Thank you. God, I'm having fucking brain farts. But I feel like it would have been able to give them a lot more focus, because that was something that I felt was hinted at a lot in the trailers, but was forgotten about heavily when it came to the actual show being released. I didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I just feel it would have been better as a tighter 2.5-hour runtime movie.
I agree. To me, out of all of them, I think Falcon and Winter Soldier would be the one. But also, and it would be complicated to pull it off as a movie, because I didn't like the show. A lot of other people didn't like the show, and it is so niche. But again, I think it would have worked better as a show. She-Hulk would have worked better as a show. 100%.
As a movie?
As a movie, sorry, it is a show. It is kind of a show. Is it a show? I don't know.
I don't know what it was in the end. I don't know. I didn't hate it by any means. I liked She-Hulk.
I didn't hate it. I still went C on it. So if she was in my school, she would have just barely passed, like as a warning, like, you passed, but be better.
Yeah. And She-Hulk is just eye candy for me. I ever since I was a kid had a bit of a thing for She-Hulk. Like I could die a happy man.
And for Tatiana Maslany, it's whatever the issues of the show are, it's not her fault.
No, it's not at all. Not at all her fault. God no.
Yeah, but those are the two. As soon as you said Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm like, I agree. So I better come up with another one just to spark conversation. Let me just get my phone that finished charging. And here we are. Gico EP also asks, with it just being announced that Jennifer Garner is coming back as Elektra for a cameo in Deadpool 3? No, they just announced she's coming back. They did not specify what it was.
It wouldn't be a cameo, I don't think.
And all the rumors about appearances from Ben Affleck's Daredevil, both Fantastic Fours. No, not both Fantastic Fours. 838 Wanda, I've heard this one recently. I have not heard this one at all. And the OG X-Men cast, do you think they're adapting in their own way the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe comic? No. With the Fox characters, or will it serve as a nice send-off for the Fox Marvel stuff? Maybe not even use them for Secret Wars. what it is going to be, it's going to be essentially a road trip through, let's say, Fox Marvel's version of America. So instead of a road trip through America, it's a road trip through Fox Marvel, with Deadpool and his best buddy say goodbye to everyone in the Fox universe.
His
But at
best
the
buddy
end of it all,
Chimichanga.
his best buddy Chimichanga, um, aka Logan,
Yeah.
going through the Fox Marvel America. But in the end, Deadpool has to say goodbye to his best buddy too. His best buddy cannot go with him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No.
It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be joyous. It's gonna be chippy. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be a very Deadpool-y movie. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. I'm a big Deadpool fan. I'm excited for this movie, and the more I hear about it, the more I get excited. People have been, ever since the Elektra thing, I've seen a lot of comments being like, "It's becoming what Deadpool made fun of it for," and I'm like, "But that's the point. That's the fucking point. It's Deadpool. It's allowed to be that meta. Meta, in regards to Deadpool, is literally looking at the camera or looking out of the comic book panel and breaking the fucking fourth wall. Talking to the reader, talking to the audience, and he literally did that in Deadpool 2 when the new generation, like the younger generation X-Men cast from First Class and all that, were in the room behind him. They're doing this, but I feel in a bigger way, where these characters will come in almost like a Secret Invasion type thing, but for Deadpool, for him to merge into the MCU and to say farewell to the Fox Marvel. And I'm okay with that, considering they have, I believe this was confirmed, but this is canon to Logan, but takes place before Logan.
Yeah. They've confirmed it.
They've confirmed that this is in ties with Logan, but it's taking place before the events of Logan itself. And I'm actually really happy about that. And that confirms what you were just saying before, that it's going to be him saying farewell, because Hugh Jackman's Wolverine cannot come into the MCU.
How funny would it be if the whole thing is about everyone who's had a bad movie in their franchise has to die,
and he's
blocked X-Men Origins in his mind, and so comes the end, and he's like, "Why are you not coming through?" Wade, I had a bad movie too. What do you mean? No, you had Logan, you had a Wolverine,
that makes so much sense, considering literally he kills Ryan Reynolds looking over the script of Green Lantern in Deadpool 2. I mean, that's also the same movie that showed a mid-credit scene of him trying to kill, but then nursing baby Hitler, but, fucking whatever.
And he shoots his Baraka self from Origins in the head.
Baraka pull!
All right. GWP, since we're halfway through the year, what are your best films of the year so far? All right, my top 10 is Creed 3. I'm going from 10 to 1, by the way. So Creed 3, Evil Dead Rise, Missing, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Air, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Suzume, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and John Wick Chapter 4. That's my top 10. Patrick, do you have a top 10?
I need to look at a list of movies that actually came out this year, because I have fucking forgotten. I have definitely a list for worst. And I tell you what, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is at the fucking top. I'll just go 10 movies that I have seen, because I can't have a definitive ranking so far of what I actually have. I'll put Elemental, Air,
nice,
Evil Dead Rise, Creed 3, of course. John Wick Chapter 4 is my favorite so far this year.
Yes, good man.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You know what? Yeah, I'm a big fan of these video games. The Super Mario Brothers movie. I really fucking liked it. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. What a fucking fun movie. I had so much fun as a D&D. Not just as a D&D fan. I just thought that was a fucking fun.
As someone who's never been into D&D, I had a fucking blast with that movie.
Oh, it was so D&D. And I'm sitting here listening to the cities they're naming, Neverwinter and fucking Baldur's Gate. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here geeking the fuck out. It's a good comedy for people to get into if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, whether it's the board game or the MMOs. but it's also a good movie for the fans. God, what else would be on there?
Across
Not
the Spider-Verse, have
Insidious.
you mentioned that one?
No, Across the Spider-Verse would not be in my top 10.
Oh, okay.
Scream 6. I'll put Scream 6. And you
All
know
right.
what? I really enjoyed The Pope's Exorcist.
Yes! Not anywhere near my top 10, but I'm glad someone else enjoyed it.
I really enjoy The Pope's Exorcist. My biggest problem is that ending. That ending
I-
and like the need for a sequel. Like,
Were
meh.
we talking about it last week because you were about to see it, or?
Oh, we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It was a couple weeks ago. Oh,
All right.
and as like an honorable mention, I'm going to throw it out there. Knock at the Cabin was fucking amazing. People need to give that movie a
Oh.
break. I loved Knock at the Cabin. I think it's Shyamalan at his best in years. At his best
wow.
in years.
All
I
right.
think the whole thriller side of it and like the is it not the end of the world situation, the acting from everyone was freaking phenomenal. And this I'm always a fan of secluded location movies. Like I love Nonstop, I love The Shallows, I love Saw, like the original. Secluded location movies are one of my favorites.
Yeah, true. Chico EP, what are TV shows that people get on you for not watching or that you haven't seen yet? Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
For a while, Succession until I did watch it, and it's not as good as
Barry.
everyone thinks.
Barry.
Oh, you do need to watch Barry. I'm not gonna get on you, but I will recommend it.
I have one mate of mine who will not get off my ass about watching that show.
You don't have to. You just have to click away while your ass is sitting down.
Okay.
Beat you to it.
Walking Dead season, 10 to 11. I sort of just fucking gave up after season 9.
Which one?
Walking Dead season 10 to 11. I still haven't watched it.
I gave up on season 3, my friend.
Oh, really? I like season 1 all the way through to season 7, episode 3. Season 7, episode 4.
As soon as he starts seeing the ghost of Lori, I'm like,
it gets better after that. After the whole Laurie shtick and all that, after the prison season, it gets a lot better again.
I had just had enough.
Yeah, so that was season 4, by the way, because she died giving birth to. Yeah.
Was it season 4?
Season 2 is the farm. Season 3 is the prison.
Yeah, exactly. So it's season 3.
Laurie gave birth in the prison, and that was towards the end of the season.
But he still starts seeing her in the prison because I remember he sees her ghost and she's walking down.
Oh yeah, because it was like the last episode. It was like the last episode of season 3 because that's when he starts going on his massacre and everything.
Okay,
because that's when he's on his massacre after she died, and he's hacking up all the fucking walkers and everything in the prison and everything.
I don't even remember that anymore. But yeah, I was like, did I give up on season 4 and I was wrong all these years? But yeah, those are a few. I don't.
House of the Dragon.
Zach. Oh, I'm gonna get on you for that.
I still haven't seen the House of the Dragon. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Okay, I'm waiting. I need. I know.
Waiting. That's fine. If you're waiting, that's fine, Patrick. I don't know what you're waiting for, but if you're waiting, that's fine. Not everyone, not like people, but Zach gets on me for not watching Atlanta.
I haven't even seen Atlanta.
Yeah. Because it's not a hit show. That's the thing. It's a cult show.
I get on people for not having seen MASH. I get on people for not having seen MASH, but that's because it's the best sitcom of all time.
Ooh, all right. Damn. Hot, not hot take. Fighting words. Those are
fighting words. I adore MASH so much. It's so rewatchable. I still have the fucking VHS tapes of each season.
I will get on people for not watching Battlestar Galactica, the greatest sci-fi show on television ever. I will get on people for not watching Spartacus, my favorite TV show of all time. I will get on people for not watching Son of Anarchy, my third favorite show of all time. So yeah. GeekOP, what are some films you liked when you first saw them, but over the years you find out more and more flaws and start disliking it? Do I have one like that? Let's go to my YouTube channel. Let's go to playlists.
Question:
And
movies we liked and then over the time haven't liked.
yeah, movies you liked when you first saw them, but over the years you find more and more flaws and start disliking
The
them.
Nun 2. The Nun, sorry. The Nun was
The
a movie
original
that I'm
Nun.
like, the original Nun I gave a B+ when I first saw it, and then I rewatched it once, like second viewing in theaters, and I'm like, wow, this is actually like the most boring fucking thing I've ever watched.
I disliked it immediately.
The new movie looks actually way fucking better.
That was a good trailer, man.
Dude, that's
that
a
was a
damn
good
good
trailer.
trailer for a sequel to one of the
Like-
worst horror movies of the last decade.
The scene where the girls are looking through the hole, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna look again, and it's like right there, but no, the hands come in.
I
the
knew it was coming.
magazine thing.
That's the scene I was about to mention. I
Holy
knew it was coming, but
shit.
it still fucking got the suspense immediately and the location.
I've never seen anything like that.
And it's going to tie
I
into
never
the third
seen
Conjuring.
that-
I already
that
fucking
thing
know
done.
it's going to tie in because Frenchie was the one with the cross that they were exercising at the beginning in the tape in the second movie.
Yeah.
We see Frenchie at the beginning of this trailer in the exact same fucking area. This is the location that Ed and Lorraine Warren went to exercise him. This is the location. And I'm like, I'm sad
looks like
we're
it's
still...
in Scotland, judging by the accents in the trailer. And I'm like, cool. Love it.
Dude, the location, the lighting, the cinematography this time around is so much better. The way they're building the suspense. It's not just the trailer. I know when it's just the trailer. I can fucking tell. Because there are certain things that they do with like the score of the trailer and the editing of the trailer. No. Here it is genuine fucking suspense and tension before the jump scare or before the imagery in this trailer. That that mural that is very subtle, but the brick layout mural of Valak. I'm like, oh, that is some creepy fucking imagery right there. And I love Valak. That gave me fucking sleep paralysis. She was my sleep paralysis demon after The Conjuring 2 came out. She terrified me. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be looking across my room. And you know that state where you got sleep paralysis and you're awake, but you're not? You're still dreaming?
Yeah.
I'd see her in the corner of my room. It fucked with my brain for like a solid 2 weeks after seeing The Conjuring 2. And I'm so disappointed that The Nun was so boring. And I'm so glad that this was such a good trailer. I am actually excited because I expected to be like, oh, The Nun 2, yay. But that's one thing I will say. Between The Nun and The Conjuring, The Devil That Made Me Do It, Michael Chaves has the potential to be a great horror director. He just needs the right fucking material. I have defended him on that.
Conjuring 3 wasn't the best, but it was more of a script issue than a direction issue.
Exactly. His directing and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It was phenomenal, in my opinion.
Still a stupid title, by the way. Still a very stupid title.
People are like, it makes sense because of the case. No, just call it The fucking Conjuring 3. What's wrong with you? The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I hate the fact that I say that every single time, but I need to emphasize, just like Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. I actually like that movie, but it's still a fucking stupid title.
Yeah. It's dumb.
By the way, a sequel's happening for Welcome to Raccoon City, and I am so fucking
Oh,
happy.
it is? All right.
It is happening. It was confirmed like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, thank you, because the movie flopped at the box office, but did, just like Spiral from the Book of Saw, really well on streaming.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was #1 on Prime for like a solid 3 months or something.
I had no idea. That is easily the best live-action Resident Evil movie that's ever been made. That's not saying much, but...
I agree. I can't wait. By the way, I'm going to go see Mission Impossible Fallout and...
Fallout?
Dead Reckoning Part 1 and the new Resident Evil movie in theaters tomorrow back-to-back.
Ah, nice.
Because little did you know, there's a new Resident Evil movie meant to be going straight to Netflix. Called Dead Island, but it's getting a limited theatrical release at the beginning of July until its release on July 27th on Netflix.
Obviously, I would be the last person to know about a Resident Evil movie, so that's not to say anything about the... Then again, you did just say it's a Netflix movie, so obviously nobody's ever heard of it.
It's also a CG animated movie. It's also a CG animated movie like Infinite Darkness. And you know what? As an RE fan, it has the dumb survival horror, ridiculous, over-the-top Matrix bullshit I come to expect from this franchise by now, and I'm there. Like, there's a shot at the end of the trailer with literally every single one of these characters. By the way, the first time we're ever seeing Claire, Jill, Rebecca, Chris, and Leon all on screen together. First time ever since 1996. First time. But we see them jumping over a gigantic tentacle of a water bioweapon in full Matrix style, like flips and fucking slides and shooting the guns. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm fucking there.
All right. Nathan Madigan, are there any actors/actresses you are glad to see finally have a mainstream hit? For me, Miles Teller in Top Gun Maverick following disappointments of the Divergent series and Fantastic Four. To pull off Top Gun Maverick, oh no. You know what? I'm going to say an honorable mention for Glenn Powell, who was this guy who shows up in these side roles and all these things that not major events, but like people see and oh, I recognize that guy. He finally made a name for himself in Top Gun Maverick. The big one, I'm going to say, I've been in love with this woman ever since The Pillars of the Earth. She had a small, significant role in the MCU. She was the end-all be-all for the greatest character in the MCU. But now she is second billed in in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Haley Atwell. Yeah. I am so happy for her. She has been tremendous in Pillars of the Earth as Peggy Carter in the MCU. In all the theater she does, in her episode of Black Mirror, Be Right Back, she's amazing. She is a sensational actress, and you're all about to see the joy, the wonder, the talent she brings to the world in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 as second build right after Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, starring Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell. I could not be happier for her. And once you see her in this movie, and once you see all the interviews she's giving around, particularly the one that she did with Ali Plum for BBC, you just cannot help but be happy for her. And yeah, that's the one. That's the one for me.
I have two.
Go.
So first one, a Bulgarian actress, Maria Bakalova.
Ah, yeah.
Because like I've seen her in stuff like Transgression, Last Call, and everything, but to see her finally get what she deserves from movies like Borat, subsequent movie film, and Bodies, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 makes me so fucking happy. Like, she is such a talented actress. Like, it's very rare that you see an actress like Maria Bakalova who has such range. And like, wasn't she in The Father as well, the 2019 film? Oh, wrong with The Father. That was a different Father. Okay. Not the one with Anthony Hopkins. But like, I just think she deserves the world in regards to her acting career. She has the upcoming Fairyland to look forward to as well. And then I'm gonna say it. I had to pull up her list, admittedly, because I was like, I've seen her in stuff before, and I know she's deserved it from these roles, but what ones were they? Daniela Melchior.
Ah, yes.
Because of Park Mayor and The Black Book. She is such a talented actress, and I was so ecstatic from just The Black Book alone to see her get cast as Ratcatcher 2 in The Suicide Squad. And then to see her, even though it's not a great movie, mind you, Fast X.
Yeah.
And then to see her have that small but very prominent
in a great movie.
In a great movie this year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. These two actresses, in my opinion, just deserve the world. And not only are they great actresses, but in my opinion, represent their culture so well with their acting and just their personalities as well. They seem like the most kind and pure people ever. And I'm sure for, Daniela Melchior, you're very happy as well, considering she's also a Portuguese actor. Yeah.
Well, don't say also. She is a Portuguese actor. I'm trying to be an actor, but
no, you are an actor now. You are an actor. You're in The Witcher season 3. You're an actor. Fuck you.
As an extra, thank you. But thank you very much. I'm very happy.
I've seen you in The Witcher 3 now, so I can say it like last week. Fuck you.
I am officially a co-star of Henry Cavill, and that's very special for me to say. And as the biggest fan of Masterpiece of Steel. I
What's
don't.
her name? Who plays?
Anya Shar something. I saw her one of the days I was shooting. I literally
Yeah,
passed by
because
her and said hi
my
and etc.
my simp nature for Yennefer cannot be contained. Like from season 1 to now, I sit there and I'm like, like I seriously, Yennefer, man, Yennefer.
All right. Jico P. Ren, have you ever thought about doing a comics corner to where you recommend comics related to a specific comic book movie coming out and get people interested in the character if they like the movie? I have thought of it. You are not the first person to specifically say, "Hey, you, since you know so much and you're so interested, you should try it." The thing is, I don't think many people would be interested. I don't think a lot of people read comics, and a lot of people might be interested in seeing X character or Y character or a comic book movie, but they are not necessarily interested in the comics. I have thought about many times trying to do it, and I have not said it's still like one of my ideas in one of my drafts to actually try to do it. The complicated thing is most of my comics are back home. So to do it here, it'd be a little bit hypocritical of me going, "Hey, read this comic," and just put an image or a video up. I would have to go and buy the comic and get a second copy. "Hey, read this comic right here on my hand." It just wouldn't feel as genuine for the people watching, especially for new subscribers. Maybe for everyone
Yeah.
who's already followed me, they'll know, "Oh yeah, Ren has always liked comics. He knows what he's talking about in that sense." But I would have to go out and buy comics. I have some comics here, don't get me wrong, but they're more recent stuff that I'm like, "Oh, I'm not caught up on this. Let me get these comics just for me to read as someone who likes comics." I just read Secret Invasion. I could talk about Secret Invasion, but I only started after the show already came out. So it is an idea I've had. Number one, I don't think a lot of people would be too interested. Number two, I just don't want to be buying comics that I already own in another country and spend the money on that, because I just don't want to say, "Hey, read this," and put a picture of it. I want to actually, "Hey, I own this comic. I've read it. You guys should get this, and you should get this specific edition that I have for reason X, Y, and Z." So yeah, but it's a good suggestion. I thank you very much, because just asking that means you would be interested in that type of content. So that lets me know that it's something I can still look at as a viable new addition to the channel. Gigo P also asks, "What is the best and worst film starring Tom Cruise?"
Last Samurai is his best.
Ooh, good shot. I love Last Samurai.
Last Samurai is so good.
Tom Cruise
Let me look at his
filmography.
movies. His worst.
I mean, Top Gun Maverick, Mission Impossible Fallout, Edge of
Valkyrie's the
Tomorrow,
worst.
Oh, Valkyrie is so good. Valkyrie is
I
so
don't like
fucking
Valkyrie.
good. Valkyrie is so good. Minority, this guy's filmography, man. We talk about Tom Cruise movies all the time. We don't talk enough about the quality of his filmography. Collateral might be his best.
The Mummy is his worst, actually. I take that back. The Mummy.
I don't think The Mummy is that bad.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad.
Because for me, his best would either be Jerry Maguire or what is it, Last Samurai?
Last Samurai is a good one. I guess Collateral doesn't count because he's not the star. I mean, he makes that movie, but Jamie Foxx is the star. He's the antagonist.
What about Lions for Lambs?
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay.
Last Samurai is a good shout. I'm going to go... Honestly, I'm going to go Top Gun Maverick. For worst, maybe Days of Thunder.
I thought you were saying Tropic Thunder for a second. I had to rethink that back, and I'm like, what the fuck? Not Tropic Thunder.
No. Vanilla Sky. Again, I don't think it's bad. So I have to go with Days of Thunder. But look at this dude's filmography. Not just this past decade.
Cocktail's a really bad one.
I've never seen Cocktail, but you're generally the first person I've heard saying Cocktail is a bad one.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone liking Cocktail.
Oh, interesting. Every time, and it's not like everyone talks about Cocktail. That's not what I'm saying. But every time I've heard conversations about Cocktail or had conversations about Cocktail is a good movie. Not Cocktail is amazing. Not Cocktail is one of the best ever. I mean, and I say Top Gun Maverick, and you say Last Samurai, both legitimate shouts, I think. But then you have Rain Man, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with a Vampire, Minority Report.
American Made is very underrated.
Magnolia.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it because I do own the Steelbook. I do remember that when I did watch it in the cinema, I was like, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I was disappointed, in terms of what I was expecting and how much I liked it.
Right.
But goddamn, Tom Cruise's filmography, man.
Risky Business. Look at Risky Business.
Risky Business. Rock of Ages, baby. Stacey Jacks, the greatest rock star in the world. I'm Wanted Dead or Alive.
Endless Love is all right as well. I don't mind Endless Love.
I don't think I've seen that one. I don't
think
I've seen that one. Yeah,
granted, he hasn't got a big role in it. He plays Billy. He's in it for like
you stepped.
Granted, I like Endless Love. I do like Endless Love. It's a really nice movie from the 80s. It's a romantic drama, but at the same time, he's not the main character. That's more like Brooke Shields. But you know, he's good in it for what he's in. But that's like, I guess that's like saying, hey, Minority Report, fucking Tobin Bell is good. He has like one scene.
I don't even remember Tobin Bell in Minority Report.
Oh wow, I think I'm thinking of a different one.
Let's keep going. Jigo P, you guys talk about how you prefer unknown up-and-comers for big roles like Superman and Lois. I don't necessarily do, but I understand why James Gunn wants like unknowns and such instead of A-list stars, and I think it helps you look at their previous work. What are non-franchise films with Marvel and DC actors that made you a fan of them? For example, since Elizabeth Olsen plays the Scarlet Witch, got me to watch an indie she was in before she broke out, Martha Marcy May Marlene. Very good movie. I didn't like that movie too much. I think she's great in it, but I think the movie is okay. It's a really good question, though. What are movies? Because we were talking about last week, like Chris Hemsworth didn't like have anything to watch unless you wanted to watch Neighbours, Australia's greatest soap opera. Patrick, longest running soap opera.
It needs to fuck off.
One of Australia's soap operas.
Same with fucking Home and Away. Bugger off. Those shows. I'm so glad that Neighbours is over. I'm so glad, but Home and Away.
Oh, it's over. Okay.
It finished like 12 months ago. Now it's time for Home and Away to fuck off. That show has been on the air for way too long. By the way, to correct myself real quick, Tobin Bell was in The Firm with Tom Cruise, not Minority Report. He played the guy at the gas station or the convenience store, whatever the fuck it was.
Okay.
One scene.
Look, to me, the one that comes to mind is Simu Liu. It got me to watch before the movie came out, but when we already knew, oh, this guy's going to be Shang-Chi, I watched Kim's Convenience due to him being in there. And now that same thing is going to apply when Avatar: The Last Airbender live action comes out and everyone falls in love with Uncle Iroh, and I tell them, go watch Kim's Convenience because that man is forever Appa. And I know it gets confusing because there's another Appa in Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I love Appa. And small brag, no, you know what? Big brag, because he's amazing. He follows me on Twitter. So there you go.
And, you know, like Shyamalan did such a good job with the last one and everything. I'm just kidding. But what is it? For me personally?
Yeah.
Who did I have in mind just then? Oh, I'd never seen anything this actor was in, but I saw a Terminator movie because of him. And I saw, and the fact that he was barely in it pissed me off. because I went because he was in the cast list, and I'm also going to say it. It's the only reason I fucking watched Morbius. But Matt motherfucking Smith, this guy.
Why aren't you watching House of the Dragon then?
I'm gonna get to it. Please forgive me, senpai. But at the same sensei. Sorry, you're not my student. You're my teacher. But at the same time, like Matt Smith, man, Matt fucking Smith. He is the.
So good.
If I'm thinking of the question is, right, actors that made us watch something.
Yeah.
The only reason I saw Terminator Genesis, the trailers looked like dog shit. The movie ended up being dog shit. But at the same time, the only reason I saw that movie was because he was in the cast list. I'm like, Matt Smith, holy fuck. The only reason I watched Morbius is because he was playing the fucking villain. Anything Matt Smith
is in the movie.
Yeah, they're dancing around like a motherfucker. He did a full-on Tobey Maguire. You know, fucking Bully Maguire. But at the same time, like anything Matt Smith is in, I'll get to House of the Dragon. I'll fucking get to it. But anything he's in, I either will watch immediately or will eventually get to, thanks to his performance as the Doctor. He is the second best Doctor, in my opinion, below Tom Baker. But barely below Tom Baker. For me, the top three Doctors, Tom Baker, barely below is Matt Smith, and barely below Matt Smith again, David Tennant. And David Tennant's another one. I'll watch anything David Tennant's in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. David, I still hope he's Doctor Doom in the MCU.
Who, Matt Smith?
No. David Tennant. Yeah.
No, I want to see him come back through the because Daredevil's coming to the MCU and everything with his show.
But it's not the same.
I know, but I want Kilgrave back. I want his Kilgrave back. Give me Jessica Jones and Kilgrave.
But I don't know that the MCU would talk about rape.
I don't think they would either, but at the same time, yes, if he's not going to be Kilgrave, make him Dr. Doom.
Yes, I agree.
Actually, you know who Matt Smith would be a really good villain of?
Give me one, because I adore the man. He is my favorite Doctor, and for some reason, I can't think of one that's like when I think David Tennant, Dr. Doom, that's like, fucking perfect. I can't think of one for Matt Smith.
I actually think Matt Smith would be a really good Galactus.
He would.
Or, hear me out, in DC, Clayface.
Ooh.
I think he has either that or because Matt Smith, we've seen him in Doctor Who have that really nice, calm reserve, but even in, I'm going to say Morbius and Doctor Who, he has the ability to be really angry, very eccentric, and switch personalities on a dime.
Just wait until you see him play a psycho in House of the Dragon. Like this manipulative, scheming,
maniacal.
It's not even maniacal, like he likes to play. And this whole thing is a game to him, and he's always 3 steps ahead of everyone else, and he loves it.
Well, for me, literally at the flip of a dime, I think he would make a really good Two-Face.
I think so too.
I think he'd actually be a damn good Two-Face.
Yeah, I agree. Jigo P, in honor of Barbie, what are films that, based on your taste in films or pet peeves, you thought you were going to hate it or think it wasn't going to be for you, but ended up surprisingly liking it? Channel content.
Movies that, due to pet peeves, whether depending on my taste in movies or pet peeves, I ended up enjoying that I didn't think I would like. That's the question, right?
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to enjoy The Flash, but that's for a plethora of other reasons. It has nothing to do with my personal taste. I was very doubtful of Renfield. It's not like I love the movie, but I was very doubtful of it. Oh, you know what? I was very doubtful. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I was never into Dungeons and Dragons.
And the original movie sucks.
But I've never seen it. And the trailers were awful. The trailers
Yeah, they
for the
were.
new Dungeons and Dragons movie
Were dog
were
shit.
really, really bad. They did not. They talked about, oh, this is like Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. You saw the trailers. I get none of that watching the trailers. You watch the movie. That's exactly what it is, and it's great.
It feels
So
like you're
yeah,
playing a campaign. It literally feels like you're playing a campaign. And I
yeah.
didn't like game night. Fucking don't repeat that to Zach for me. Please don't say that to Zach. I don't like game night.
Oh
So
God.
I was like
Oh,
looking
okay.
at this movie and I'm like, they're same directors and writers. I don't know because I didn't find game night fun. I thought the directing was good,
All
but I
right.
didn't find it to be funny at all. Lo and behold,
All right.
even though the trailers were terrible and my doubts with the directors, I loved Dungeons and Dragons.
And at one point, these directors are supposed to make The Flash, which is interesting.
Were they? Oh my god,
Yeah.
that makes me sad. Fuck, a movie for me though. I had one in mind just before, but I've just lost it. A pet peeve, and something I don't like. Oh, come on. Oh, here we go. Horror. I adore horror movies, but usually despise horror remakes. The Halloween horror remake was
Oh.
fucking fine, but the sequel was even worse for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I really fucking hate the Friday the 13th remake. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street was one of the worst horror movies I think I've ever seen, that remake. And the fact that Rooney Mara almost quit acting because of it makes me so sad because she is such a good actress. For me, though, I actually think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2000 and I want to say 2001, no, 2003 is better
Okay.
than the original.
The original isn't very good, so I've never seen the 2003 one, but I'm not going to contest you on
Treat
that.
yourself. Don't watch the sequel, A New Beginning. Don't watch it.
Okay.
Do fucking not. But the 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a damn good remake. It does everything the original did and even imitates it in ways that are both faithful but adds its own flair, and it fleshes out the story tenfold. And it does everything better where the original, fell short.
All right, everyone. That's going to do it. The next question I was going to answer, but it's a ranking of the Mission Impossible movies from worst to best. I will give you a ranking this upcoming week when the movie comes out. Patrick hasn't seen the new one, so
No.
I'm sure he can give you one as well if he decides to. Any of the other questions, please save them because I am seeing very good questions. And since next week we have a show, feel free to save them and bring them back next week from what's going to flop in July, if studios are overproducing, my acting career. I definitely want to talk about that if you guys are interested. And one question about Simu Liu's comments on Shang-Chi 2. I have to go because Elemental is finally here in the UK, so I'm going to finally watch Elemental. Hopefully, I can give you a review Monday, Tuesday at the latest. I definitely want to talk about Elemental one way or another. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me and Patrick. Next week, Zach will be back. If Patrick can join us, he's always welcome to join us. Thank you so much, everyone. And until the next one, love each other and love the movies. Bye.